For that reason, excited me as a dad because I love spending time with my kids, teaching them new things.
Welcome to Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples, a channel of conversation and board games.
Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples. Today on the channel, we are going to be taking a look at the tile-laying dungeon crawl game for kids known as Karak. You'll be playing a different hero. You'll be building a dungeon, a different dungeon each game, looking for treasure, finding baddies, defeating them, and hopefully we'll be able to defeat the dragon to gain even more treasure. I'll show you how this one plays, my final forecast coming up. Cue the thunder. So the radar overview for Karak looks like this. It is a dungeon crawl game in which you will be exploring a dungeon. Each player will get a little recessed player board, which these are really sweet. These sit in there, as you can see, I go angled, and they'll sit in there, and then each player will get a different hero that they can be, each with their own special ability noted here. So, for example, the wizard, he can always reuse his flaming sword, and he can also go through walls, whereas this hero, whenever they attack from one space, they get a +1, and anytime they have to pull a bag out of the bag or a token out of the bag, they can take 2 and pick whichever one they want. So each of them have their own special ability, which are pretty sweet. I will take this guy for just example's sake. I will say also that the standees, they're normal standees, but the back of them have the back of the character, which often, in games it has the front double-sided, but these have the fronts and the backs. So what they look like from the back and the front. I thought that was a really nice added touch from Cosmos. I thought that was cool. Each player gets a player board, and then you will begin. On your turn, you can move up to 4 times. And I will just move these tiles here, and you move up to 4 times. So if this is me, I want to move this way, I just take a tile from the top of one of the tiles and I move. Okay, move 1. I want to go this way again. So let's move. That's 2 actions. Keep going. 3. Okay, there is a room. At that point, I would take this bag full of a whole bunch of different tokens, treasures, baddies, and I would pull one of the things from the bag, and let's say I pull out this one. This is a mummy, level 7. At that point, I roll 2 dice, and I then compare. 7, I rolled an 8, I then defeat this mummy, flip it over. It is a magic sword. I can use this as a one-time ability to add a +1. So in this case, if I would have had a previous one, I could have been 4 + 1 is, or 4 + 4 is 8, + 1 is 9. And I would have beat him, and this would be discarded. So this is a one-time use. Unless you are the wizard, you can use it many, many, many times. Anyways, so beat this guy. It's number 7, and he has this token beside him. At that point, I would then give this curse token to another player. They'd have to put it on their player board, and as long as they have this token on them, they cannot use either their special abilities. To get this token off, you have to end your turn on a healing fountain, and then you can remove it. Let's say, for instance, I was fighting this guy, and I had only rolled a 5. At that point, he stays there. I would flip this over, and I would take a hit point. If you ever run out, then you have to skip your next turn, and you're able to then flip just one hit point back to a heart. If you go to a healing fountain, you can heal all of your hearts. So you will just continue to go and build out a dungeon across your table each time, getting different baddies. Some of them will be skeletons with keys. You defeat them, you gain a key. What do you use the key for? You then will sometimes pull out treasure tokens. If you have a key, you flip it over, you put it in front of you, you unlock the treasure. You'll be continuing to do this. Some of the baddies, like this mouse, has a weapon. You can add this, add +1 attack. You also then have, some of the higher ones. Level 10, You beat him, you get his axe. So anytime I would roll, at this point, I would get 6 plus 5 is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And you keep doing this and buffing up your characters, maybe with some swords. You can also have, a healing tile, map, scroll that will let you teleport back to a healing fountain, and you'll be buffing up your character because sooner or later from this bag you will pull a dragon, which is level 15, and obviously 2 6s will not equal 15, and you lose on a tie. So you have to explore the dungeon, find more characters, find more treasures, so that you will be able to then defeat said dragon at the end of the game. You count up all of your treasures. Whoever defeated the dragon gets one as well. It's worth 1.5, noted by this ruby. And whoever has the most treasure is the winner of Karak. There are, like I said, a ton of tokens that you will be collecting or finding, grabbing from the bag. There's lots of different tiles. There's a couple that have, one of these. You can teleport. So if it's ever here, you can then teleport. If another one is on the other side of the map, you can use that and teleport across the dungeon. So there you have it. That is what you get in Karak. Whoever has the most treasure at the end is the winner. Now let's check out the final forecast. So the final forecast for Karak, a tile-laying dungeon crawl game for kids. If you follow the channel, you'll know that I'm not a big fan of dungeon crawl games. Something about just doing the same thing over and over again, buffing up your character until they're at a higher level so you can beat the big baddie at the end to gain a treasure or win the game. Definitely not my cup of tea. The whole samey thing, that just, it is what it is. It's a dungeon crawl, right? But when I took this one out, put it on the table, my kids were excited, and for that reason excited me as a dad, because I love spending time with my kids, teaching them new things. And this has a few things that you can teach your kids. Each turn, it's pretty simple. You're exploring. You got to decide which way you're going to go. You got to decide how far you're going to push your luck as to, I only have 3 hearts left. Do I explore a little bit more and, maybe lose another heart that I have to then spend my next 2 turns going back to the healing fountain? It's got some decisions for adults. They're not going to be very tough, but for kids, it's some nice learning and could be some tough decisions. The player powers, I feel they all seem pretty powerful in their own way. So I like that. Wouldn't necessarily say I have a favorite one, but I like that. And it gives the kids something to think about. It gives your kids something to think about as to when they're, doing their turn, which player they have or which hero they have, how they're going to activate that special ability. I will say this, that little curse token, for our family, we don't choose who gets it. We just roll the 2 dice, and then whoever rolls the lowest then gets that curse token. I just feel that you could have some picking on and hurt feelings in that regard, so that's how we do it. But that's a cool little thing. Gives kids something else to think about, that, I have this token on me. Now I can't use my special ability, so is my special ability worth it, or should I make my way back to a healing fountain so I can get rid of that curse token? I thought that was cool. I enjoyed that. I feel that there's a lot of exploration in this. My kids like that. They loved, I'm going to explore here. What's next? Oh, I found a room. Now I got to dig my hand in the bag and pull out a tile. My kids really like that. There's just something about the unknown, what's coming next, that will hook kids to want to keep exploring more and more. It didn't make me want to explore more and more, but time with my kids, they really enjoyed it. So I'm going to look at this from a kid's perspective. From my dad hat perspective, the game is all right. It has some teachable things. How far are you going to push your luck before you go back? It teaches math, which is good. The dragon's 15. You roll 2 d6s. The most you can get is 12. So you have to then buff up your character and gain some experience and gain some more weapons before you will actually have a chance to defeat it. So I like those teaching aspects. For my kids, they enjoyed that. They loved, going after the dragon and rolling. If you have bad dice rolls, you're going to lose this game. If you have good dice rolls, you're going to win this game, much like any other game with luck. Overall, I think this is a good kids game. I wouldn't say this is an amazing kids game, but overall, I'm going to give it a 70% chance of meeples because my kids have enjoyed it, and because of that, I want to play the game more with my kids and foster that friendship and relationship and just have that fun time. So I'm going to give it a 70% chance of meeples for Karak. If you're into the dungeon crawl, you want to get your kids into this genre, you're looking for a kind of push your luck game that has some quirky artwork and a little bit of special abilities, like player powers and whatnot, then check out Karak. 70% chance of meeples for Karak. My name is Brent. Check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples. Remember, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to grab your umbrella because the forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.